Conacher. He is the managing director of SENSTEC USA. He's had a very long career in the kitchen and bath industry. It started in Scotland, where he owned his business for many years. Mark, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yes, tell us a little bit about your career prior to SENSTEC in the kitchen and bath industry.
My career, well, I started when I was 15 years old. Started out, it was a government training scheme, if you want, that I went on. And there was, when I turned up, I always remember there was like 10 other people. We were put on placement in different areas. And I was put with this company and there was 10 other young guys there, if you want, all looking to be joiners. And very quickly I worked out that I couldn't understand how on earth they weren't going to take on 10 apprentices, if you want, after this 2-year training period. So very quickly I judged, you know what, I have nothing other than I need to be the best and I need to get the head down and I need to really work as hard as I could. And that's what I did. And thankfully I got the apprenticeship and that started my journey in the building trade. And I served my time with my company. I stayed with them for a number of years and it became to a stage where my journeyman was retiring. And so I had to decide what was I going to do then. I was around about 24, 25 years old at that point. And I decided there was an opportunity with a kitchen company. So in the UK, there was a kitchen company called MFI, who a bit like Home Depot, if you want. It's not a massive brand, but they sold kitchens and bedrooms. And I had a chance to become an installer with them, and it subcontracted to them. So I had to start my own little micro business, if you want. And so that's what I did. I started my business and I installed kitchens for them for many, many years. Eventually, the traumatic side of it was that MFI actually went bust in 2008, at the end of 2008, during the big financial crash across the world. And they went under, but because I only worked for them, that was all my work. And nobody knew who I was. So I went from having tons of work to nothing, right at the coming up a few weeks from Christmas. And so I didn't know what I was going to do, but I did learn the big lesson. I had all my eggs in one basket. And so I decided to try and navigate a little bit away from that and start creating a brand for myself. And so I did that. I gathered some more work, and then it just so happens the way life takes twists and turns. I happened to, with my wife and I, we decided to move to Vancouver in 2010. So we shipped off to Vancouver, 2010, my wife, my 4 kids, but I decided to keep the business in Scotland running. And I brought in a director to run the day-to-day things there, the installations and run the various trades that we had working for us. And so he did that side, and it allowed me to focus on the business side of things and creating this brand and more awareness about the company and bringing in more private work. And so that's what we did. And for 14 years, that was hugely successful. Obviously there was ups and downs in it, but we won lots of awards for what we did. And this little micro business in Scotland, but became a bit of a national brand. People were aware across the UK of just who Liberty were. So yeah, and then as I say, at the tail end of last year, the company was in a position where I'd kind of gone as far as I could, and I was looking for something hugely different, and I didn't want to disrupt what was there. The staff were happy; they were all working hard. The company was in the best position it had ever been in, and so I decided this is a step away, and needed to find something different. I had a fire in my stomach that needed to be filled or stoked, and yeah, so I stepped away, and that led me to the owner of SENSTEC, which then now the rest is history.
Yes, so tell us about the revolutionary patented technology that SENSTEC has created.
Yeah, so SENSEC's been around in the UK for a few years now, but there was about 4 years of research and testing went into this to the shower pan. Now, this is a shower pan like no other, which the patent dictates that. They don't hand out patents just for nothing. This is a very unique product, and what's unique about it is what we call the dimples that are on the surface of the shower pan, and it's the height, it's the space, it's the shape of these dimples that creates all the various elements that make it an anti-slip pan. And so we ended up through all the research, through all the testing, it has a UK, a US, and European patents on it. So a very unique product, and something that has really started to take off in the UK. And we decided to bring it over to the US because everybody needs safety in the shower, and this is a really fantastic product.
Especially, and you're right, everyone needs to be safe in the shower because everyone's fall risk increases when you're on water and you have conditioner, shampoo, soap. But with our aging population, they're even at greater risk for falls. And so it's especially important for older people to have shower trays that are non-slip. Tell us about the shower tray that SENSTEC has created. Give us all of the features of what it looks like and how it creates such a high non-slip and the dynamic coefficient of friction, and then also why it's low maintenance.
So I can actually show. I've got a little sample here that I can show you. If you look, if I could get the angle there, you can see the little dimples that are on the shower pan there. And so what they found is when they started the research into this, it took 42 different prototypes to get to what they have. And now, could they have stopped at 30? Absolutely, they could have stopped at 30. But would it have been anything like what we have at 42? No, it wouldn't have been. This is a superior product. So those little dimples, obviously, it breaks the contact rather than being on a flat, flush surface. It actually breaks the contact, which allows for the grip of the foot to adhere to the surface. But what it also does is one of the key issues, if you want, with anti-slip is what ends up in between, as you pointed out there yourself, with the shampoo, with the conditioner, but also like things like bacteria with grime, dirt. I don't believe everybody's sitting scrubbing away or washing away their shower pan every single time they come out the shower. So slowly this builds up. But because of the spacing in between the dimples and the fact that because of the shape of these dimples, there's nothing for dirt and grime to cling to. So everything just washes away and goes down the drain. So the connection between a clean shower pan and slipping is absolute. I mean, that's what's causing the slipping. So, or that contaminant that's in between your foot and the surface. And so this allows for that contaminant to run free straight to the drain. There are various tests that they can do to check how slippy a surface is or how non-slippy a surface is. If we take the traditional one in the US is using a tribometer. Now every test has its own little quirks or own little issues, and the one with the tribometer is it doesn't test efficiently on a textured or rough surfaces. It doesn't work. It comes up with freaky results. So the tribometer wasn't really an option to test to prove the efficiency of the SENSTEC shower pan. So we look at other things. So we turn to the pendulum test. Now, pendulum test invented in the US about 50 years ago. Now the pendulum, that's a rubber foot and an arc, if you want, that swings down, catches the surface, and the distance that it travels past, they're able to collate the slip resistance of that surface as it hits the surface. Sorry. So they did the test with the pendulum test. So the highest test, if you want, with the highest reading, if you want, for the pendulum goes up to 36. So 36, a reading of 36 will give you a 1 in a million chance of slipping, if you want. So SENSTEC passed that. They continued doing the test, and SENSTEC tested up to 48. So way beyond what the limit is 36. It doesn't really matter what is beyond that. But they did test it, and it went all the way up to 48. So again, hugely beyond standards. If you take that 36 is 1 in a million. But again, this is this true conditions when we're in the shower? Are we standing? No, is it rubber that's hitting the surface? No. So in the shower, we're barefoot, we're in wet, and we're in soapy conditions. So the ideal test for that is what's called the German barefoot ramp test. And what's so fantastic about the German barefoot ramp test is it's just so visual. I remember the first time I saw this, and it's really is amazing. And I encourage you to go onto my social media, find SENSTEC's YouTube, and you'll see this test. And it really is something special. And I'll describe it for you. They take a slab sample of the product that they're working on. So we've got the SENSTEC, so it's like a 4 foot by 2 foot sample of the SENSTEC tray. Now, the German barefoot ramp test is done in laboratory conditions. Because this machinery is so big, it has to be done in this laboratory type setting. But this slab is on this machine. The person has had their feet barefoot and soaked in warm water prior to doing the test. They then stand on the sample, and they're harnessed in, because we don't want anybody to fall or slip or injure themselves. So they're harnessed before they do anything. So they're standing on the sample. The sample's on the flat, and they will then start spraying warm water and a contaminant, soap, over the surface of the shower pan sample. Now, the person starts walking backwards and forwards across that sample. That's great. We're on the flat. That's great. But what happens is on this apparatus, they start to incline the sample. Now, the person knows it's inclining, but they don't know how far it's inclining. And so gradually it goes steeper and steeper, and the person's walking backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. Again, soap water going across this. So the highest, and when the person slips on this, ultimately somebody has to slip. That's what gives them the reading. But it's graded into an A, a B, or a C, depending on where someone slips. So the highest is, you would think would be an A. No, it's a C. What the logic in that, I don't know. But the highest grade you can get, is a C grade. And that's when you get to 24 degrees. So when that sample's tilted to 24 degrees and someone hasn't slipped, it's a class C shower pan. So they do this test multiple times, and they do it with multiple people to collate all the information as to what the sample was. So SENSTEC is a class C. Now they only go to a class C, and they only go to 24 degrees. Again, another test. It doesn't matter what you go above, really, on paper, you're still a class C no matter how far you go. But again, curiosity, you keep going. And they kept testing the SENSTEC tray and tilting the SENSTEC tray. And they managed to get that tray up to 30 degrees. 30 degrees before someone slipped. Now, I don't know about you, but 30 degrees is huge. Standing, barefoot, wet, soapy conditions, and someone didn't slip. Now, I will say, if it's 30 degrees and someone isn't slipping, can you imagine just how safe that is when that's lying on the flat? That's a safe product. But again, I encourage you to go and look it up. The German barefoot ramp test, again, you'll find it on my social media. It is fascinating to watch, and it really is. And that's, again, they're real conditions. We can have all these computers, we can have all these, these swinging arms of rubber, but for a shower, that's the real conditions. There's soap, there's water, they're barefoot, and it doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't get any more real than that. So that's a really important one, and we felt that's a good one to let people see. I think people can make the connection. We can throw off all these numbers and it comes out at this, but to Mrs. Smith that's turning up and wanting to buy the safest shower pans that she can and understand, here's a tool that we can show you that just how safe you are, and they can make that connection. So yeah.
Well, that's impressive. And I'll send me that link so that I can include it in the show notes and people will have the opportunity to watch that video.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you, Mark, what materials are used in the construction of the SENSTEC shower trays, and how do they contribute to its effectiveness?
So the SENSTEC shower tray, it's a stone resin shower tray, but with a gel coating. So you have the mold, they spray the gel in, the gel sets, they pour the stone resin in, again, all of that sets, and we have this beautiful surface. It's the similar thing to what's on the hull of a boat. It's that kind of just extremely smooth. It's not porous. It's a really good structure. Because of the material that's used, it's not porous. Nothing's gripping to that surface. No, it's a very, very smooth surface. So there's no dirt or grime is going to cling to that surface. So from an antibacterial side, nothing's building up. There's no mold building up on that surface, which again, over time, this is what causes most of the problems with people slipping in the shower. It's that walking in and the unexpected contaminant that's in between. I always think people can walk on ice. We can walk on ice because we know it's ice and we know the way it is and we know the conditions, so we adapt accordingly. But people can't walk or slip when it's black ice and we don't know that it's there. And that's when people slip the most, because they don't know that surface. And I think a lot of times it's unexpected. You're not prepared for that slip. And so again, having a surface that can resist mold, resist bacteria, and is allowing the wastewater or the grime to run, the drain run off of it very easily is critical to keeping that surface safe. Again, cleanliness and slipping.
So in the US, we call that soap scum.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
The stuff that builds up on the shower floor.
Absolutely. So that's what causes it. So
not only are we not going to slip, but we're also not going to have to work really hard to clean that soap scum off of the shower tray, because it will never have an opportunity to build.
No, and if you think about, because what's so special about the SENSTEC tray is, so you get different kinds of anti-slip surfaces, and it's very easy. One of the things is it's very easy to make something anti-slip, very easy. But to try and make something that's anti-slip, is comfortable to stand on, and is easy to clean, is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. And that's the beauty of this. The easy clean side of SENSTEC is a huge feature. If you think of, again, traditional, I remember I had a shower pan in my last home, and when the kids were young, they were out in the swimming pool, they're coming, their feet, they're running about bare feet, you in the shower, they're right in the shower, their feet are obviously dirty, they're on that anti-slip surface, and that's great once, twice, but then it starts building up, and you're like, oh my goodness, and you're trying to get it clean, and you can't. And I'm sure we've all seen these anti-slip surfaces where it's grey, it's no longer white on the top, it's grey, and you can't get it clean. And so what you then have to do is then, you know what, a little bit of elbow grease, and people start scrubbing at the surface trying to get it clean. And that's not really working. It's not doing its best. And so then, well, we're going to start putting chemicals on that and harsh chemicals on the surface to try and get bleach. We're trying to get this thing clean. And it's extremely difficult. But all the while you're doing this and you're scrubbing it, these surfaces are like a paint on. I mean, it's added on. It's a traditional shower tray, standard shower tray, and they put the anti-slip on it. The beauty of SENSTEC is the anti-slip is integrated. It's part of it. There's nothing to wash off. As you see, it's actually part of the mold. So that stuff there is the same as that stuff there. There's no difference. Whereas, so you can't rub it off, you can't scrub it off, and it's there for the lifetime of the tray. And so with paint-on solutions, these kinds of surfaces wear away. You think the condition that you're in, a shower pan, it's wet, dry, hot, cold. All these things are happening. All these things are creating this surface to start breaking down. You're scrubbing it, you're putting chemicals on it. And as the years, the months and the years go by, it starts deteriorating, and you end up with some areas are a little slippy, some areas are not so slippy, and so then the uncertainty begins inside that shower tray. Whereas with the SENSTEC pan, it's the same every time you walk in it, and because it's easy clean, it's warm water, a little soap, and a cloth. You clean it down like you would wash your basin or your wash hand basin. It's just the same. It's an easy clean, and as I say, it lasts for the lifetime of the shower tray.
I see many benefits to that because it's low maintenance, which that makes it aging in place friendly. And then also we're not having to use chemicals, which as we get older, we become very sensitive to harsh chemicals like Clorox, ammonia, bleach. And so not having to use that is going to improve the air quality or keep it from degrading. And it just seems like a
Absolutely.
great product. If then it's also non-slip and it's going to remain non-slip.
Yeah, and even all these products that you're using from an environmental side of things, I mean, that's not good throwing all that down the drain. From a cost point of view, I mean, every week going shopping and trying to get different things, but also from a maintenance point of view, I always believe that. So a paint-on surface, when something's been added to the tray, obviously it needs to be maintained. But I always doubt how many people actually do maintain it. No, it's like every 3 to 5 years that should be really replaced. And it's fine when you first get that traditional anti-slip shower pan, and it comes from the factory. It's been put on in a factory. Great, it's one sweep. It's an even surface. But now, and they can test that surface to how slip resistant that surface is. But now when it has to be replaced, so whether it's yourself or whether it's a contractor comes in to do it for you, they buy these solutions off the shelf to make it anti-slip. We'll put on, so it's then painted on, or the old stuff stripped off, and then we've painted that on again. But when they do that, you can't guarantee the slip resistance of that tray. It's certainly not going to be the same as it was when it came out of the factory.
As when you first put it in. Exactly.
Because you're going to put it on maybe too heavy on one end and maybe not enough on the other. And so you can't guarantee just what the slip reading of that shower pan is going to be. It's going to be all over the place. Whereas, again, go back to the SENSTEC tray. It's exactly the same. It's it's 30 degrees inclination for the lifetime of that tray. Just because that structure, that pattern, the dimples, is part of the actual tray. It's integrated. It won't change. It won't wear off. So again, what it's like to walk into the pan. You know what you're going to walk into. So that uncertainty is taken away.
Mark, tell me about the comfort feature. You mentioned this a few minutes ago that it's easy to make a shower tray or surface slip resistant, but it's not easy to make it comfortable and make it low maintenance. So how has SenseTech made it comfortable?
You know, again, through numerous samples, you know, going through all the 42 different prototypes, comfort, we're standing there for an extended period of time. It has to be comfortable to stand on. So throughout those 42, there was many that weren't comfortable, if you want. And so we got to the stage where we felt that this was the one. But again, we have to prove that. So they brought in the podiatry department of the University of Ulster and asked them to carry out a user study on the SENSTEC tray. So they had multiple people, you know, and created this user study to test out and get feedback on what people felt without, you know, just what they felt about the tray. Now, every study always throws up surprises, and you have your own expectations, but then it throws up surprises. And the surprise from this test, or this user study, was yes, words like comfort came out, but it was also words like massage and reflexology, and that was a huge surprise to come out, that it was giving that feel to people, the spa effect of standing on this high level of comfort. And that was really what. There's no more proof you need other than Joe Public, you know, using the tree. These are user studies, and so we had that, and so that's great. That's a great place to start. But then obviously, this being in the UK, the reviews started coming in, and so these words continued throughout the reviews. I know myself as a contractor, having a bathroom installation company, and I knew about SenseTech. I started using SenseTech myself, and putting it towards my own customers. And again, it was the same feedback that we got. People were just delighted with the product. They loved how comfortable it was, and it's obviously, again, it's back to that dimple effect that's creating that you're not standing on this flat, solid surface. There's a bit of movement in it. Well, not movement, but a bit of the dimples allow the texture of your feet to distribute the weight in a little differently. And so people find that as a kind of a massage texture on their feet, which again just points to comfort.
You know, that's interesting because that's the same composition that they use for wheelchair cushions. Okay. Except, of course, for a wheelchair cushion, the profile is much deeper. Yeah. But it's that same dimple effect to distribute someone's weight when they sit on the cushion so that they don't develop a pressure sore.
Pressure sores, that's really interesting,
yeah. Yeah. So tell me, how does the price of the SenseTech shower tray compare to other similar high-end products or products that are focused on safety?
There's not going to get away with it. It's going to be a bit more expensive than your standard shower tray. There are other manufacturers out there that do great products, great anti-slip products, and this is not about, again, it's not about everybody it's not that everybody should buy a SenseTech tray and that's the only tray that there is. There's other options out there. It's what option's right for you. And I do encourage everybody to have an anti-slip shower tray, no matter what shower tray it is. It should be. From a price point, they're peaking at it depends, again, obviously price is dictated by size. So that's a huge thing. If we took a comparison of a standard shower tray, you're probably coming in somewhere on the high end of a brand. It's around about 2,500 that they will be. We're just slightly over that, starting at around about 2,700 for our tray. But bear in mind, there's no maintenance on that shower tray.
So you said 2,700.
2,700. That'll be the stats where we will start for a standard shower pan. But okay. There's no maintenance on that. It's it has a lifetime warranty on it. These things are all building trust. You know what you're walking into, and as I said, these things, it's a patent. I mean, so it's guaranteed that how unique this product is. So it's always going to come in a little bit higher than a standard shower pan, if you want. But I don't think it's exceptionally beyond the realms. You've also got the fact that it is a shower pan. It's easily installed. We don't have coatings to put on it. We don't have tiles to lay. It's one
right.
and
So
done.
it's already going to be a cheaper product than if someone has a shower floor that's tiled.
Absolutely. So you don't have tiles involved. Your plumber's just going to plumb this in, put it into place, plumb it in, seal it, and away you go. It's extremely quick to install, and quite, it's quite interesting. As much as what you have here is this, this, again, curbless is a great thing, but it's these tiled floors running in, what we would call a wet room floor in the UK, and yeah, they're gaining popularity in the UK. Whereas here it tends to be that style of floor. Then there's a curb put in to contain the water, if you want. And that's kind of traditional in North America as to how a shower environment would be created. Again, probably dictated because it came like that because of size, and that's where it started off. Bigger houses, bigger bathrooms. You were able to have a bigger shower. You wouldn't be able to buy a pan that size, so it had to be constructed. But whereas in the UK, a shower tray, shower pan is far more traditional method of having a shower. It contains the water in itself. It's easily installed. I would always encourage any of these things to be installed by a professional. I know there's lots of great DIY people out there, but as a professional bathroom installer, I would always say, you please speak to the experts, because
there's water involved.
There's water. Do you know what? I've just seen it. I've been back to jobs to water creates so much damage. It's just crazy, and it doesn't necessarily to be. I always found that no matter where the water leak, the damage could be somewhere else. So trying to find where that is.
Larger everywhere place.
And it's just a headache. It really is, and it's a headache people don't need. And and for that additional cost, you don't have a tiler or anything like that. So please focus on get a professional in to install these types of products.
Let me ask you about the different size of the shower pan. So does SENSTEC have several sizes, or can it be created custom?
So what we have, obviously, everybody's got to start somewhere. So because we're a new product coming to the United States, we decided to start with 10 different sizes. The biggest of those sizes is about 6 foot by 4 foot. Is going to be the biggest size. They'll all be in white. Now, that doesn't mean to say that the sizes that we have, that's it. In the UK, I think there's 40 odd different sizes and shapes of shower pans available. And those shower pans can be in absolutely any color, any raw color that you want. They could be made into. So obviously, having bringing the trays over here and having them stored here for sale doesn't mean to say that we can't access what the UK does. So we can do a custom tray, and if someone was looking for a custom tray, a custom colour for whatever reason, then please reach out to me, drop me an email, and we can start that process of creating anything you want, any colour you want, and also you would have access to the various different sizes. But it can be organised. Obviously, there's just a little bit of extra costs involved in that, and also extra time to allow that to happen. For it to be, all these trays. It's like a one-off. It's a unique tray. So, but absolutely, we could do that.
What about if someone wants to have a curbless shower? Can the SENSTEC tray be adapted so that someone can either reframe the floor or recess the subfloor and then place the SENSTEC shower tray over and have a 0-step entry into their shower?
Absolutely. Obviously, this is designed as a standalone shower tray. So it's 30. And metrics, 36 mil high. So, but that's about inch and 3/8, something like that,
Okay.
in height. So yes, it can, but what it can be, I know you've got some great products like there's the rapid recess where you could cut the floor out. You put these fantastic brackets in, and then sink the floor down on these brackets, and that stops any structural changes to joists and whatever underneath the floor. Again, a real cost saver. So once you drop that in, that's another 3/4 of an inch that you're able to drop the tray down for the thickness of the flooring. And then it's just about your various builds up, depending on what thickness of your tile and your whatever you're going to be laying the tiles on. So that really builds it up. And so ultimately you end up with this flush curbless entry. So yes, with a switched on installer, absolutely. Again, that's why I would always advise you go towards a professional. A very simple procedure to do if that's what you are looking for, that style that you're looking for, yeah.
Well, that's great. Looking ahead, what future innovations or improvements do you see SENSTEC developing?
Very difficult to improve something that's unique, but what we
That's
are looking
perfect,
at.
right? You can't improve perfect.
No, it's just one of those things. And so, yeah, no, what they're actually coming up with is they're working on a slab effect. So again, there's texture, there's shape to this, but they're looking for this slab effect. So it's going to be slightly thinner. It's a slightly thinner, about inch and an eighth. But it will be square edge, sharp edges, and have the SENSTEC dimple on the top of it. It's just a slight difference, and again, from a design point of view, and the
More
UK,
contemporary look.
yeah, in the UK, again, the shower pan is a feature. It's there, so people like different styles, yeah, and so that's something that they're working on right at this moment. Is the slab effect and having the SENSTEC dimple on it. So I'm excited to see how that turns out.
The last time I spoke with you, which was a couple of weeks ago, you were telling me that there was a shipment headed to Florida and you were tracking the truck. Is this available yet? And where will we see the SENSTEC shower tray product?
So absolutely, I was such a sad person watching that ship coming across the ocean. It really was, but eventually it got there, and yes. So just the other day, and obviously, a new shipment, custom. You've got a customs headache, and they want a further inspection and everything, and you've got the stress of that. So it's been quite a stressful, hectic time. But at last, we got it in just I think yesterday, the day before. Yesterday was Monday. So we got it to the warehouse. So they're slowly processing everything within the container and getting it into the warehouse. Our website is going through its final testing at this moment in time. So we'll watch this space. Definitely within the next week, our website will be going live, and we'll be able to purchase them online. So yeah, I'm very excited about all this. It's taken, it's like anything. Things take longer than you think. You think you're just gonna, open the shutters and away you go. But it's the respect of coming into the United States, and we want to do things right, and it's slow and steady, and but yeah, it'll be available across the United States as much as we have our distribution center is in Florida. Is available right across the United States. We wanted to take that and start in one area and learn. Again, we're learning about the market and how this is going to work over here, and getting things to be. We want things to be perfect for customers. We're doing a white glove delivery service to any room in your home. So this isn't Amazon that's going to dump this at your door and run. This is a quality product, and that quality has to run all the way down. And it took a long time to get our our 3PL distributors, things like that, get all these things in place and find the right people that were going to work with us and grow with us. And our distributors are a key part of that growth. And they're set up across the United States, so that once we start seeing patterns, and we can start then bringing and shipping these into different distribution centers. But at this moment in time, yeah, available across the United States, but we're slightly focusing on Florida with our distribution center.
And a potential customer will be able to order the shower tray directly from your website.
Absolutely,
or
yes.
from a distributor?
They go online, and it's a Shopify website. They'll be able to do everything through the website and buy it directly there. And shipping will be included, and it will be delivered directly to their home and to any room they wish in the house. We designed a special packaging, this crate that it's going to come in, and a lot of work went into that to make sure that this tray looks exactly the same when it arrives at your home than from when it leaves Ballygolly in Northern Ireland. So it's a long distance.
Will SENSTEC also help the customer find an installer, match them with an installer, or is it like installing another shower tray?
We wouldn't be finding. We're assuming that the customer will have their own contractor already set up. Obviously, that's something that we could start doing down the line. Obviously, from myself, whilst the aging in place community, if you want, is something that I'm hugely interested in, and trying to learn as much as I can about. It's just so much I've learned so far that I didn't even realize. But I'm hoping that through time that I can find people within that community that can maybe help us then help our customers, and be able to find synergies and tie the companies together to say, right, okay, we don't physically come out and install this thing, but you know what, here's a fantastic reputable company. Go through them, go to their website, put in your zip code, and you'll be directed towards, again, a reputable contractor that can take care of this for you. So that's where I'm looking towards down the line. But baby steps at the moment. The number one thing is we get this 100% right for the customer. I know the product. That's what's fantastic about this product. When I had an installation company and I ran that, whilst it was fantastic, it was a great company and great people. You're only as good as your last job, and everything I said, I'm at the mercy of other people doing this job. Whereas what I find fantastic working with a product is I know that product, doesn't matter whether it's the first one or the 10,000 down the line, it's coming out exactly the same. So it's very easy for me to speak about, because I can stand behind this product because it's never going to change. It's a unique product. It's just.
It doesn't have a bad day.
It doesn't have a bad day, exactly. So that was my first instance in finding, like, our 3PL distributors, bringing them together, finding a website agency that could help us create a great website that's going to be easy to work for the customers. And again, whilst aging in place is a niche, it's just one niche, and it's very important for it's a great product for aging in place. But I believe anti-slip and safety in the shower is for absolutely everybody.
Oh, it's for everyone.
These things should be mandatory, no matter what. That if you're installing these things, that it is anti-slip, and people are also aware of what they're buying and the maintenance that comes with it. I'm sure there's a lot of products put in there, and it's there is, thanks very much, and away we go. And the customer doesn't really know very much about the product. I don't know that there's huge amounts of conversations about levels of safety that the customer would actually understand what they're buying.
I think people aren't aware, exactly like you said, that when they're buying a shower tray, there is a difference between the quality and the non-slip factor that goes into that product, and they're just unaware, they may just assume that a shower tray is non-slip. But I can give you an example. When my son was a newborn and I had this little bathtub for him, and that bathtub, it had such a slippery surface on it that even him, and he was less than 6 months old, when a couple of times he slipped on his back, and after 2 or 3 times of that happening, he became terrified.
Oh,
And
wow.
when I would approach him over the bathtub, he would start crying and not want to get in it because he remembered that he had slipped several times. And eventually I had to get rid of that little bathtub and just buy him something else because he was absolutely terrified.
No, it's important to know what you're going to be standing on and what level of safety it's going to get you. And I wrote an article for a magazine not that long ago, and it was about non-slip, slip resistant, and anti-slip, and what do those words mean? And everybody assumes they all mean the same thing. That if I buy this, and I'm not going to slip, and that's not quite the case. And as I say, there's different levels. When we talk about the German barefoot ramp test, there's different levels. There's an A, a B, or a C class, and then there's SENSTEC. But there's an A, a B, or a C. So, but when someone's selling that A class website, I think it's something, is it 12 degrees, something like that is the slope on an A class. It's still being sold as an anti-slip, a non-slip, or whatever. It's been sold like that.
What does that really mean?
But what does that really mean to the customer? And so, again, that's part of my job, I feel, to not just educate people about SENSTEC, but just anti-slip in general, just so as they understand what they're buying and the maintenance that perhaps is involved in it. And just keeping people safe, as you say, from young kids, families. There's lots more multi-generational families now, so that this product has to be good for everyone. And it's
universal design, and it's also transcendent design because it's for everyone. It is also for people with very specific mobility impairments. For example, someone with Parkinson's or someone with diabetes that has neuropathy. So that makes it transcendent because it's for the healthy person and it's for the person who has a type of disability.
Absolutely. There's actually a review we received in the UK from a customer who had that Parkinson's disease, and how this has just changed her life of using this. But it also didn't just change her life, it changed her husband's life, because he was always sick of all the gadgets and things that she had in the shower and these mats and all this stuff to try and not slip in the shower. And so he's over the moon because she is now so confident standing on the surface, and it's got rid of these mats that gather dirt. And again, the problem with the dirt is it then starts becoming the opposite of why you bought the thing in the first place, and it builds up so quickly. And I don't think people realize
just
that
after 2 or 3 uses, and especially if you live in a temperate climate, like Florida or Georgia, Louisiana, and you have the humidity factor. But as an occupational therapist going into people's homes, I would see patients laying towels on their shower trays because their shower tray was so slippery that they were putting a towel to make it non-slip, which, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah. Again, I'm learning stuff as well, and looking, again, digging into things. I'm learning about people with the special shoes and everything they wear when they go in.
Yes, people wear shoes. Yes.
Oh my goodness, there's no need for this. There's stuff out there, and I just don't think people know. And obviously, they definitely don't know about SENSTEC, and so I've got to get this in front of people and help them understand that there is great stuff out there that can, again, the reviews stand up for themselves of that's the best kind of publicity or whatever you want that we can give as previous users. And obviously I need to build them up in the US as people start having these in their home and start using them. But yeah, we need to make people safer and get rid of the mats and towels and shoes. It's a lot simpler than
and
that.
It's a bunch of work, because now all of this stuff has to be washed, it has to be picked up, it has to be dried, and it's unnecessary. Yeah. And it also detracts from the beauty of your bathroom.
Absolutely. And being in a shower should be, it's one of the few times you're on your own, but it should be a great experience. I mean, it's start the day or end the day, and it's everybody likes water running over them, warm water. It's a great feeling. It's a great experience, and I just, obviously, since I've started this, I imagine, what people go through and thinking about it. If I'm standing in the shower and I'm thinking about it, imagine just being petrified that you're going to slip all the time. How this just ruins this experience. Then people start avoiding the experience, and then that comes with a whole load of problems. I think this should be a highlight of people's day. Going in the shower, it should be a good experience, and there shouldn't be stress there.
Or it shouldn't be an activity that threatens your life.
Absolutely, because that's the thing. If you fall, no, this is not a little bruise on your knee. This is life-threatening stuff. And again, we all know, older people, once you fall, that tends to be, it's you're not going upwards. It's a downward spiral from there. People start, just becoming worse, and so we've got to keep, people on their feet and not slipping. And SENSTEC's a great product for that.
And I'll end the conversation with saying that most falls result in either a head injury or a hip fracture.
Yep.
So very, very dangerous. Fall prevention is key for helping people age in place and continue to have quality of life.
Absolutely.
Mark, thank you so much for educating us.
Thanks so much for having me.
All these different tests that test the dynamic coefficient of friction that we don't have in the US, like the German barefoot ram test. That was great. But thank you so much for sharing all this great information. And we look forward to your website being live. You can send that to me, and I'll include it in the show notes.
Yeah, as I say, it should be within the next few days to a week. Once we've done all our testing, there's going to be a lot of information, a lot of what we spoke about today that people can take their time and read about. There's a CPD course on there all about anti-slip that you can look at. There's tons of information out there that's going to be on the site. So I'm excited for people to, if nothing else, understand what anti-slip's all about. And
how can someone get in touch with you?
You'll find me on LinkedIn, you'll find me on social media, but you could email me, mark@senstec-usa.com. But yeah, LinkedIn tends to be the place I hang out most often.
Okay. And we'll include all those links in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely, that would be great. And if anybody's got any questions, please do reach out. I'm only a phone call, we could do a Zoom, we could do email, whatever suits anyone, and I'm more than happy to share whatever I can with you.
Thank you, Mark. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.